Hello, hi, and welcome to EmpathicFire. I am your reader, Jay. These are going to be general messages for the sign of Libra in the month of October 2018. Hello, Libra. How are you guys doing? I hope you guys are doing well. How's everything? How's your life? Good, I hope, as I just said. As you can see, Libra, I went ahead and I shuffled beforehand, so that's your main spread there. We're going to shuffle now for your outcome and your overall energy, which will be the bottom of the deck. Once all cards are out and they're lying face up, that's when the reading will begin. You can look in the description box below, and you're going to see the timestamp below for when the reading actually begins. Also down there is information on how you can go about getting a personal reading with me if you feel so inclined, like about 3 or 4 easy steps. And, oh, happy birthday, Libra. It is October. I apologize for this coming out so late. It's pretty much like the middle of October, so I apologize. But, you know, life, business, work, all those things kind of occupy my time. So that's the reason why this is coming out a little late. But regardless of that, I hope you guys have had an amazing birthday month, or an amazing birthday if it's, you know, you don't celebrate all month. Maybe you just celebrate on the day. Maybe you don't celebrate at all, but I hope it was good for you and that life is bringing you some good stuff, okay? All right, guys, let's go ahead and get your outcome. Libra outcome for October 2018, please. Yep. Wow, nice and easy. Bottom of the deck is the overall energy. Kind of came out as a sidewinder. Which way for Libra, please? Please show me. Like this. Okay, thank you. And that. My pile was too close. Sorry. Little bit of camera maintenance for you. There we go. Looks a little better. Okay, guys. So let's go ahead and flip everything over and let's see what you got. Well, hello. Okay. I don't know why I'm like being such a perfectionist today. Like normally I don't fuss with my cards this much, but something about this is making me feel like, no, it has to look really good. It has to look good. So maybe that's a message to some of you. It has to look good, okay? Anyway, let's get into this, Libra. Let's see what's going on. Please show me where Libra is in October 2018. Please show me where Libra is. Please show me. Here. Is that right? Yeah, okay. All right, Libra, coming into October 2018, you come in as the Two of Pentacles in reverse. By the way, this is the Santa Muerte deck by Fabio Lestrani, if you're interested. I'll show you the card upright, just in case you're not familiar with it. But like I said, it is in reverse for you. So, Two of Pentacles in the traditional Rider-Waite is not a card where you see two figures and they're kind of exchanging energies or exchanging love or affection or anything like that. That's usually the Two of Cups. And in this deck, and the reason I use different decks is because I want different interpretations throughout my readings. So for this month, we're going with this deck. So for this one, yeah, like this has a heavy like love and connotation to it. It might be the love of a partner. It might be the love of a family member. It might be the love in relationship that you have with a business partner or a very good friend of yours, something like that. But there is this idea of something being exchanged, something being shared with another person, like in some cases I'm feeling like a secret or like a bond. Very intimate, though. This is a very intimate energy. And again, it's not limited to a romantic relationship, but I do feel like there's this bond that you have with a person that is very deep. It's very intertwined, you know? You have a lot of experience with this person. You have a lot of memories with this person. But it's not the same. But it's not as close as it used to be. It's not as available to you. There might be distance between you and this other person. And the balance that was there is not the same. Not as strong. It's completely severed in some cases. But there's just this bond with a person where you guys were like totally equal. Like as you can see in the card, at one point you saw eye to eye with each other. You could like finish each other's sentences. You knew what the other person was thinking. And it was just such a rooted relationship. Like they're showing me like two plants, two trees maybe, that are like above ground. They're separated maybe by a good distance, but underneath, like their roots were touching, like the roots of these trees or the roots of these plants were touching or intertwined in some way, or like were getting nutrients from like the same resource. So that to me is like a long history with this person. You have like a long, like I said, long-standing historical, okay, sure. You have a long history with this person. And it could be anybody, romantic partner, you're a family member, a good friend, a business partner, whoever, whatever. But the fact that it's shown in reverse, to me, is indicating that, again, the bond is still there, but something along the way has changed, where you guys might be apart from each other, like you might have actual distance, like I said, with those two trees, like there's a connection underneath the surface, but above ground, those two trees are yards apart, feet apart, whatever. You would not know by looking on the surface that you would not know by looking at the trees, as they're both away from each other across this field or however distance apart. You wouldn't know that underneath the surface they were connected. So didn't I say it has to look good? Something about looking good. So on the surface, it doesn't look like you guys have this relationship anymore, or a closeness in this relationship anymore. And that could be due to many factors, If this is a friend of yours, maybe you guys live in different cities now, you guys have grown up, you're adults, and, you've got family, they've got a job, and the day in and the day out of life keeps you guys apart. So you keep in touch on social media. You might, send each other a Skype every once in a while, something like that. Snapchats, every here and there, but it's just not what it was when you guys were in college, when you guys were in high school. If this is like a relationship, you guys might be living together, but you are emotionally distant from each other. You are in some ways distant from each other because you have to work different schedules, or you've got this going on at your job, they've got that going on with their job or their family, and like obligations are keeping you guys apart. So the bottom line is, for you Libra, you come in where there is a deep connection with a person. Like you care for them, they care for you. It's very, very much an affectionate relationship. With love, romantic love or otherwise. But something is keeping you apart emotionally or distance-wise, or because it is Pentacles, you could say something financial is keeping you guys apart. So there might be this issue with money in a relationship, or someone has to work on finding balance with their money, balance with their finances, balance in their resources, because it's in reverse, that would show an imbalance, that would show destabilization regarding Pentacles, regarding finances and resources. So that might be at play in some of your cases, but really I'm just feeling like the connection is there, but by all appearances, it doesn't seem that way. Like to someone from the outside, it would seem as though you guys don't get along, or that you don't speak, or like you're friends, but you're not like really good friends like you used to be. If someone knows you guys from before, if someone were to meet you now, Libra, and you were to mention, oh, my friend Casey, or my friend whoever, I don't know, what a very Anyway, Casey. Sure. My friend Casey. And if I'm a new friend of yours, Libra, and you say, oh, my best friend Casey. And I'm like, who? I look at your Facebook. I don't see any posts or pictures with you and Casey together. I look at your Instagram. You're not tagging Casey in anything, blah, 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 blah. But in verbal exchanges, someone says, oh yeah, Libra's best friend Casey. I'm like, who is this Casey person? I never see them. I never see Libra talking to this person. I never hear stories about this person. It's like, if I was meeting you as a new person, I wouldn't know the significance of this relationship. Like, I couldn't guess it by, again, appearance's sake. But, again, what's under the surface is you and Casey, you and your best friend, you and your partner, you and your business partner, you and your cousin, whoever, have such an intense, deeply rooted bond that nobody could predict it. Nobody would be able to suss that out. Okay? And that's interesting because, like, I think there's a potential, like I said, there is like a love overtone to this card, romantic love or otherwise. But it's just, I don't know why I'm talking about that. Why am I talking about that? What's that mean? Like, this relationship is super significant. It's like once in a lifetime kind of thing, where who you are with this person, or who you were, either who you are with this person or who you were with this person, you know, it depends on the specifics of your relationship and the status of your relationship. It's so impactful. That's why I'm talking about the love aspect, because it's such an impact. Again, it doesn't have to be romantic love. Like, this could be familial, this could be a best friend, whatever. The love that you shared with this person, shared with this person, once in a lifetime. Like, you can't, I'm having a hard time articulating it because I don't think that you can articulate it, Libra. It's like, it's sort of unspoken. It's sort of so it's like there's a magnitude to it, there's a weight to it, there's an importance to it that sometimes you might not understand. You might not be able to articulate, you might not be able to express to someone else. You just say, like, you label it with things like best friend, wife, business partner of 18 years, whatever. And that means something to others around you. Like, they're, oh, okay, Libra's best friend. Oh, okay, Libra's husband, Libra's wife. Like, people understand and they accept that there's a certain way that relationship should operate. But you, Libra, know that there's a deeper way that relationship works that other people don't understand, that other people, and sometimes you can't even understand. It's like inexplicable, like this bond, and maybe that's it. It's like beyond a love and affection that you have for this person. Like, you feel bound to this person on a spiritual, soulful level. Like, if in some cases it might be for you, Libra, that if something were to happen to this person, like, sort of like in that way that they talk about sometimes identical twins have like a sixth sense about each other. Like, if something painful happens to the other person, to the other twin, twin A feels what twin B's pain is. Like, that is sort of what I'm feeling. So I feel like when you guys are so connected, for lack of a better phrasing, it feels like you're one person sometimes. Or like you come from the same something. Like, you share something in common with this person that is more than just love and affection and affinity and closeness and all that kind of stuff, and or sex or like I said, a business or anything like that. Like, if the business fell apart, you guys would still be connected with each other. If the love, if this is a love relationship, if you guys break up, if you're already broken up, you still feel connected with this person. Not because you used to date, not because you used to be married, but because that person, for lack of a better word, is connected to your soul. Possibly a soulmate. Okay? And I think I mentioned in the beginning how the Rider-Waite Two of Cups kind of mimics this energy of two figures exchanging energy with each other, exchanging affection with each other. But in this deck, the Two of Pentacles kind of looks like that. Again, I'll show it to you upright so you can kind of look at it a little bit better. So this is like giving me more Two of Cups vibe. And in the traditional Rider-Waite deck, Two of Cups is sometimes interpreted as a soulmate card. So I don't use that word often in my readings. I have a weird relationship with soulmate that I think a lot of readers don't usually have, because I don't reserve it for just a love relationship, just something romantic. Your sister, like my sister, is a soulmate of mine. I know she is. I know it. You know what I mean? And we're, and it wasn't always that way. just to give you a little side about my life. It wasn't always that way, but now that we're both older adult women, definitely it's like, oh my God, like my sister, we are, I can't explain. I'm like sitting here, I'm like, she's my soulmate, and I can't say anything other than that. So that might be what's going on here, Libra, where you have a particular connection with a person. Again, it doesn't have to be romantic, and they are your soulmate, and you may or may not be together. Like I said, you could have been business partners for X amount of years. Now you guys don't have that business, and maybe you guys have had like a little bit of like tension between you. Maybe you've had an argument. Maybe you had a falling out. Maybe there was shysty behavior with you. Like maybe one of you screwed the other over in a business relationship. Like, I'm leaving the business. What do you mean? I can't afford the business without you. And like you pulled out your assets, you pulled out your resources, you pulled out of this deal, and you left someone high and dry. And maybe you, Libra, were scorned by that. Like, how could he do this to me? How could my business partner do that to me? How could my wife do that to me? Whoever, right? But you still feel connected to this person. You cannot release them. You can't release this bond. And perhaps you don't want to. Or if you do, you are perplexed and find it hard to articulate and work through why this person is still connected with you. Because they're your soulmate. That's it. That's it. They're a soulmate of yours. That's it. I haven't spoken to this person for 10 years. But they keep popping up in my mind, or there are certain memories, and then this happens, and I think of them, and I feel warm inside for some reason. I feel really like there's a certain, like a smile, like a small smile will come across your face even if this person hurt you. I'm not saying this is the case for everybody, by the way, but for some, that this needs to be said. Even if this person hurt you deeply, or you hurt them, it could go either way. It's a general reading. There's still a smile that crops up on your face, or that crops up on their face, when they remember certain things that have happened between you. That's soulmate energy. Okay? If someone hurts you and you don't smile back on those memories, they're not your soulmate. Okay? And not smiling at the hurt, but being able to take the good with the bad. And even, like I said, even in cases where you haven't spoken in years, where you're not in contact with each other, where what looks like what's on the outside, that distance between you is the truth. There is distance, there is tension, there is drama between you. But again, under the surface, your roots are connected. Your roots are together. Soulmate. So again, to other people, it might not look significant. It might not look like you and this person have anything in common, or that you talk, or that you're on friendly terms, and you may or may not be. You know your specifics better than I do. But under the surface, my God, you and this person, there would be like the earth would have to shatter in order to break that bond that you have, basically. You'd have to dig down into the earth, cut through all the dirt, the layers of dirt and stone, to get to where those roots are touching, and then remove them. And who's going to do that? Or how often does that happen? Not often. You know what I mean? And that's why I'm saying soul connection, soulmate, it's like so deep, you can't alter it. Now, that, okay. And I think your reaction to that is twofold. One, two. First, your reaction to that knowledge or acknowledgement or realization or feeling, whatever, however it comes to you, whether you think about it, whether you feel it, whether you discuss it with someone else, whether this is your first time hearing such a message and kind of going, oh my God, Jay might have a point, or maybe that is what's going on between me and my whoever. Your reaction to it is two things. First, you got the Hermit in reverse. Card of Virgo, so there might be a Virgo of significance in your life, but it doesn't have to be. I'll show it to you upright just so you can become used to this card. But again, it came up in reverse. So, the Hermit is a card usually about going inside, doing some deep reflection, doing some inner work, getting to some sort of unearthed, uncovered truth about yourself. And in order to do that, you kind of have to go within. You may or may not be recluse. You may or may not be antisocial. You can be a hermit and like be in the middle of like a party, you know, a pool party or something. Hey guys, what's going on? And like you're actually in your hermit phase, but nobody would know. So it's more of like a what's going on in your internal mental space, what's going on in your internal heart space. The Hermit card is. But it's in reverse, so I think you may have done that for a while, but now you're kind of resistant to it, or you've been resistant the entire time. Like, you don't want to think of this person as a soulmate, or you've never thought of them as that because you never went inside and considered the deeper context of your relationship. Like, you surfacely accepted the status of what you guys had. So, former business partner, we worked together for 10 years, 15 years, whatever. Then one day he or she said, I'm out, or I said I'm out, and that was it. You know, you accepted what was the byline, the status report, the police report? Okay, sure. You know, whatever could be written on paper about your relationship, you accepted it. Like, that's just what it is. We were together, we worked together, now we don't work together. We had a marriage, now we don't have a marriage. We were best friends in high school, now we, you know, see each other like once every 2 years. You know, you just accept that the distance, again, going back to the trees on the surface, the distance between the trees is the reality of the situation. You have accepted, thank you, you have really just accepted the surface, observable reality of this relationship. We used to be close, now we're not. And, you know, in the day-to-day, I don't see them, I don't speak to them, they don't speak to me, and that's okay. We once were something, now we're not. The Hermit in reverse is indicating that you didn't really, or you have not really gone deeply into just why you cannot shake this person from your mind, from your memory. Because personally, I'll interject myself here a little bit, take off my tarot reader hat for a second and interject here. I've had many of friends in my life, close friends, and then, you know, as life goes on, you part ways, they choose different things, you choose different things, and you run now into different social circles. But like I said before, some of these relationships, like my sister is one, I have a best friend who's another one, where even when we're apart, like, there are times when I don't talk to my best friend for like weeks, maybe even months, but that connection persists. I know what that is. I don't have this reversed energy, personally. But you, Libra, do, because you haven't done, I shouldn't have interjected myself, because I'm not trying to make this as a comparison. Be more like me. No, more of, for me personally, in my life's journey, I was just like, how come when I meet up with so-and-so and we haven't spoken for months, it's kind of weird. It doesn't like immediately fall back into place. It's like, it has like an awkward startup again, versus when I go back and I talk to this person and I haven't seen them in forever, we get on like immediately. We get on like a house on fire, like boom, right back into where we were. And I was just like, what's the difference between these two relationships? And I was just like, and then, you know, in my own development, in my own study, it's like, oh, soulmates. Duh, Jay, it's a soulmate situation. And understanding that there are levels to soulmates, or there are different not levels, but different intensities to soulmates. And just understanding where I vibrate, what level my energy is at, and who meets me at my level. Soulmates. So for you, Libra, you haven't really done that work. You haven't really considered that possibility, or considered the specifics, or really gone over, like I said, the deep details of this relationship. You've accepted what's written on the surface, you know, like the byline, the summary. If it was a book, you would read the summary. You would be like taking the cliff notes and being like, okay, I've read Romeo and Juliet Shakespeare. I have read Hamlet, because you've read the cliff notes. You think you've read the entire text. No, you really got to sit there and read that entire text to really understand what's going on with this Two of Pentacles relationship, what's going on with that connection with that person. But your reaction has been, I don't need to. I don't need to. I don't want to. Or in a good portion of you, you've never considered it. Like I said, you've never even thought of reading any deeper into what the significance of that relationship is in your life, in your spiritual life, in your soulful life. Like, you've just been like, oh, you know, you've taken it to be, like I said, in reality. And well, thank you. Okay. Yes. Sorry. I was just like, why do I have to clarify this? I was like, oh, because I know my understanding of reality. Okay. Anyway. So when I said you accept the reality of the situation, you accept the surface, what's written about it in a report or a summary, what I'm meaning there is, again, you are not looking at this from a mystical, metaphysical standpoint. When I say you accept the reality, meaning you accept the ways that reality would permit this relationship to be described, for this relationship to be understood. So, for lack of a better phrasing at this moment, like the clinical ways of understanding this relationship. So, in the case of broken relationships, broken marriages, broken business partnerships, unforgivable drama and fights from like best friends or relatives, things like that, where you might have unresolved issues. You are thinking, oh, the reason I think of this person, or the reason when memories hit me about this person and I smile even though I'm thinking about something painful, it's because we have unresolved issues. It's because there's not closure, da-da-da-da-da, and there's some more... there might be like a psychological explanation as to why this person means something to you, or why this person remains in your thoughts, remains in your heart, and all that kind of stuff. Like there's like this, well, you know, there, like some of you might literally have done this, like literally looked at like how the brain works and how attachment or emotional and attachment works in the brain. And you might, I'm not saying this is a fact, by the way. I've not read any articles on this at all. But maybe you've come across literature, you know, news articles, scientific journal things where it says, oh, when humans create relationships, this is what happens in the brain, and this is what happens in this cortex in the brain, and memories are aligned to da-da-da-da-da. And you have, basically, you've scientifically accepted why this person and you, like why this person, you know, stays in your mind, stays in your heart, you know, crops up every once in a while, out of the blue, seemingly out of the blue, this person comes up. You're like, oh, that's my brain playing tricks on me. Or this is my brain doing this, and da-da-da-da-da. Like textbook, scientific explanation. You've accepted that. But you have not explored, excuse me. Am I getting sick? I hope not. God. I don't want to get sick, please. Anyway, you have accepted the science-based understanding of this relationship. You have not explored, not considered, not even wanted to not even fathomed, like, or did I say consider? Yeah, it hasn't even crossed your mind in a lot of cases, Libra, that this person, your relationship with them, is something that is metaphysical, something that is spiritual, something that is beyond, you know, what you can observe with your five senses. And the Hermit would allow you that energy, or excuse me, allow you that consideration. It would welcome in that journey or that reflective period if it came in the upright. But because it came in the reverse, I don't think it's good nor bad. I think this is just information for you. I think this might, in some cases, be an affirmation to you, or a point of enlightenment, a point of, you know, something for you to consider, something for you to take away from here and do with it what you will. You know, I don't think that this is, you know, a place where, because you have these two reversals and you've got a third coming up, that means anything negative. And I don't know why I'm clarifying this. I think if you are a general reader of tarot, or excuse me, viewer of tarot, you would understand that when things come in the reverse is not always negative or means that you're not doing something right. Like I said, I think it's just reflective of what's going on. It's just showing you an image of yourself from a different angle. You know, if you take a selfie and someone stands to your left and takes a picture of you, and then someone stands behind you and takes a picture of you while you're taking a selfie, those are three different snapshots of you at the same moment, but from different perspectives. And I think, like, this is what's going on. This is one perspective, is you didn't have this, or you're not open to, or you haven't been responsive, or not responsive, but receptive to this particular perspective of going at understanding this relationship from a more metaphysical, spiritual, soulful place. And the other part of it is this Ten of Wands card, where I think this is, like, like I said, if you're taking a selfie and someone over here is taking a picture of you at that same moment and someone behind you is taking a different picture, these are just the different angles and perspectives that you could have. So one of your perspectives and your angles is the Hermit in reverse. The other is your Ten of Wands upright. Now, Ten of Wands, all of the tens in this deck are very, like, abstract when you think about them in comparison to the traditional Rider-Waite, which usually shows people engaging in something. So for the wands, it's the guy, he's carrying, like, the bushel of wands, the bushel of rods, but they're not, like, collected together. Like, it's haphazard, it's very strenuous, it's very stressful. And so in this particular case, I feel that a little bit, just because that is the, like I said, traditional interpretation of this card. But I feel also like, for you, Libra, like you're taking... Like, this Two of Pentacles relationship, or this Two of Pentacles reverse relationship, this soulful connection that you have with someone, you're taking it in that way. It's stressful, it's burdensome to think of this person, or the totality of your relationship may have been kind of haphazard, or, you know, a little crazy. Like, maybe this best friend of yours, like, you guys were partying hard in college, and then you, like, lived together for 2 years after college, and you guys were, like, living, like, this hedonistic kind of lifestyle, going out every weekend, you know, doing all the things that young, crazy people do. And now you're, like, looking back at that time, and you're like, I'm 42 now, I've got 2 kids, I've got a mortgage, I've got a husband or a wife or whatever, and then, but I'm still thinking about this person who was just a friend of mine. Like, why do I care about this person? Like, you're, perplexed. In addition to looking at things and saying that relationship was a burden, or the way our relationship ended was a burden or stressful. Like I said, it could have been a divorce, it could have been a break in a business partnership, it could have been 2 friends, you know, arguing and never speaking again. That kind of goes into that traditional understanding of the Ten of Wands, where it's strife, where it's difficult, where it's not easy, and it kind of gets on your nerves that you have to carry these 10 wands, these 10 rods. You know, it's too much. But I'm getting, additionally, is like perplexed. Like, you look at your life then with that person, and you're like, who was I? That crazy, you know, why did we do all that crazy stuff together? Why were we running around like idiots, you know, getting into trouble or making less than pristine decisions about life? Like, we were stupid. And you chalk it up to, okay, I was in my 20s, or I was, in some cases, in my 30s, or whatever, and you're just like, I was dumb. I was dumb. And again, it's like, it perplexes you because you can't, again, this thing of not being able to let it go. Not being able to fully put it to bed, okay? I'm in my 40s. I have my wife or my husband and my kids and my mortgage and all that good stuff. I've got the American dream. Ha 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 ha. That's a joke, by the way. But I've got this whole different lifestyle. I've got this whole different list of priorities and responsibilities and obligations in my life. I have different likes and interests. Yet I still look back at that time, and you can't reconcile who you were then with who you are now. You can't, like it's like something is sticking to you regarding this relationship, regarding this time in your life, but specifically about the relationship. So let's say you are living your American dream with your hubby and your kids and all that good stuff, or your wife, whatever. Gender and roles are really insignificant. There's something sticking to you about that relationship. Like, maybe I was in love with that person, and they were never your lover. You were never intimate in this specific scenario I'm painting. You were never intimate with that person. You guys never did anything together. You know, and maybe that's what's perplexing you. Maybe you are married, and this is getting really specific, and maybe it resonates with like one of you or two of you, I don't know. But, you know, here we go. Maybe you were really in love with that person, but you never acted on it, and that's what's persisting through this. Like, was I in love with my roommate? Like, and it could be a sexuality thing. It can be a whole, we were out betting dudes. We were two young women catching all the men, you know, having all the boyfriends, going out, doing, you know, things that young women do. Let's go shopping. You know, this is very stereotypical. Let's go shopping. And maybe you guys didn't shop. Like, maybe let's go, like, to the shooting range. I don't give a damn what your hobby was. But you did it in a friendly manner. It was like, my best friend, my bestie, right? BFFs, all that good stuff. And now, 10 years later, 20 years later, whatever, you're like, I still think of this person. And and you've had fallings out. You've had a falling out. You've had a disagreement. You've had an argument, whatever. And you're just not close. But again, those roots are deep and you can't let it go. And you're like, why? Beyond it being a best friend, it might perplex you, or it might be burdensome with this 10 of Wands energy, because you realize there's more to it. There was more to that affection that you had for this person. I was in love with them. I had deep-rooted, here we go. Something about roots is going to be in the title of this video. But anyway, you had deeply rooted, intimate, sexual desire for this person. But you didn't recognize it at the time, or maybe you actively suppressed it. You know, maybe I'm digging bones out of your skeleton, or out of your closet, and maybe I'm pulling skeletons out of your closet, like, you know. And now you're like, man, now I'm married. I love my husband, or in other cases, I love my wife. But I can't shake this feeling that I had for the person who I still consider one of my best friends. You know, and it doesn't have to be this whole, oh, you know, you're secretly gay or you're secretly lesbian. It could go the other way. You could be gay or you could be lesbian. You're like, but my close friend from college, I'm a lady, but my best friend Brian, man, I love that guy. I would have his babies. And you're like, oh, I'm a lesbian, but I would have his babies. And I wouldn't use a turkey baster. I wouldn't ask him to go jizz in a cup. I'd take him on. You know, that might be shocking to you. Like, perplexing, stressful to realize. Like, you might have the kids are all right situation. Like, Mark Ruffalo steps into your life, you know, maybe, and you're like, this is my only chance to bed Mark Ruffalo. Let me get it. You know, it might be that something for some of you going back to a friendship or and this doesn't even have to be like we were best friends. It could be we were enemies. Not we were enemies. I'm sorry. that would be a totally different and very specific reading. But it could be an ex. Like you haven't let go of an ex. Okay, it doesn't have to be someone that you were not strictly involved with that way. Like, it can go any way, is basically what I'm saying. For some of you, you never thought of that person in a sexual or romantic way. Now you are. Now you're like, is that what I was feeling for them? And you realize, oh, I was suppressing my sexual urges for this person, or my sexual attraction to this person, or my romantic interest in this person. Oh, and that's why I can't let it go, because I feel connected to them. Da, 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 da. So, going back to perspective, so on a spiritual level, you haven't acknowledged those deep roots between your two different trees or your two different plants or whatever, and you haven't accepted that that connection is so prominent, again, on a soulful or a spiritual level. You also haven't accepted, or excuse me, your other reaction to this is that even thinking about what happened between you can be stressful, can be burdensome, can be kind of, you know, ruffle your feathers. If things didn't end on a good note, if things ended sourly between you, you're like, ugh, that guy, or ugh, that girl. Man, she did a number on me, or man, that fight we had, and, you know, she threw this at me and said all this stuff, and I said this, and blah, blah, blah. You know, it's not easy to... I have to, like, keep going back to all my references. So going back to, like, the whole Cliff Notes thing, like, instead of reading the Cliff Notes, which you have been doing, you might be thinking about, not actually doing it, but just considering, maybe I should read, like, the full text. Like, maybe I should, instead of, like, reading summaries online, actually go buy the book and read this book, and you're like, but that book is, like, 1,000 pages. Holy hell. Like, no. So the idea of getting to this deep root thing and considering it more could stress you out, give you a little anxiety, make you feel like, I don't want to do that. I don't know. Or perhaps even if you wanted to, the other person's participation, they wouldn't want to participate. If you've got other obligations and responsibilities, you just can't, you know, go have dinner with your ex from 5 years ago or 10 years ago or whatever to understand your connection and to see, do they feel this connection? Like, if you wanted to turn this hermit energy upside right and do this internal work, go on this reflective journey, you might need to talk to this person, and you haven't spoken in 10 years, 15 years, whatever, 2 years, it doesn't matter how long it is. And your reaction then would be kind of resisted to that potential rejection from the person you want to speak to, and the potential, not rejection, but like, God, what is the word? Jeez, I hate when the word just leaves. Bring it back. Not rejection. Not resistance, but like refusal? Sure. Let's go with refusal. If you have, and I know this is taking like a very romantic turn, but I hope you're able to like plug this back into your other scenarios if it isn't a romantic one. But let's say it is, I want to go talk to my ex from however long ago, or I need to resolve something, or I need to understand something about that relationship, so I want to go have a lunch with this person. Your wife, your current partner, your new business partner, your children, whoever you're tied to now, might not accept. They might straight up refuse, or it might hurt them and cause new stresses in that relationship if you say that. Hey, I know I told you that my ex is a douchebag and that we ended on bad terms and all this kind of stuff, but I really just want to go and have a lunch with him so I can understand what was going on between us and to see if I can understand, like, what is this? Because, there we go. Thank you. If you said all that, Libra, to your current partner, to new friends in your life, to whoever who has been there with you in your most recent part of your life, they would look at you like you got your head on backwards. Like, what are you talking about, Libra? When you told me about Steve, you told me that he was this and he did that to you and he treated you like this, he was garbage, blah, 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 blah. Why do you want to go back to that? Why do you want to talk to that guy? Why do you need him to tell you da, 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 da? And it would just come with like this inquisition. It would come with like this whole argument and this whole disagreement between you and your current partner, between you and your new best friends, between you and your kids, whoever is there that is significant to you now. You're like, I don't want to upset them. So you don't want to risk the rejection of Steve or whoever from your past, whoever this Two of Pentacles person is, being like, I don't want to talk to you, or I thought we were settled. Why do you want to talk to me? Da 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 da. Like being resistant to you, being rejecting your interest in understanding why you have this bond. In some cases, this curiosity, like, hey, I feel connected on a deeply spiritual level. Do you feel the same? And they're like, you're crazy. I don't subscribe to that BS. What are you talking about? And you're like, I saw a tarot reading. And they're like, huh? that's a joke, by the way. But you see what I mean? So on one hand, you're like, I don't want to risk upsetting this person. Not upsetting, but I don't want to risk rejection from this person in my past, or this person that I just can't shake the feeling of. And I don't want to risk upsetting and encountering a refusal and encountering like this block from people that are significant to my life now. So you're just like carrying this load of anxiety, of stress, of restlessness, of, you know, constant curiosity. What if this happened? What if I said this? What if that never happened? Like you're replaying events in your mind. And it's a lot of things in your hands, on your back. However you want to look at this whole carrying 10 wands situation, in your hands, on your back, whatever. And it's like, geez, you know, one more thing could tip me or tip this whole thing, and I could drop everything, I could lose everything, or I could, you know, mess up a current relationship that I love my current partner, I want to be with them for the rest of my life, but I still have this bond with this other person from my past. Thank you. All right. And also, that would show your cards. If you've been with someone new, like let's say again, I hate to bring it to a romantic thing, but again, I hope you're able to plug this into friendships or other relationships in your life, and family relationships even. Thank you. Let's go there. Let's take a break from romance, because I don't want to make this all, you know, about that. So let's say this is a family thing. And let's say this Two of Pentacles relationship is a relationship you have with one of your parents, you know, and maybe you haven't spoken to them for X amount of years. And currently you have a closer relationship with your cousins, with your sisters, with your brothers, whoever. And you're enjoying your life. You're living your best life. You know, you have a good connection with the family that you started. You love your nieces, your nephews, blah, 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 blah. But you can't break this bond that you feel with a relative from your past who has hurt you, or you hurt them, or there was something, but you know what I mean? So this could go back to like childhood stuff is basically what I'm saying in this scenario. And let's say you've been wanting to reach out to your dad, or reach out to your mom, or reach out to your grandparents, or reach out to an uncle or an aunt, whoever, who, you know, again, like two trees on the surface are so apart. Like, people wouldn't know that you were connected, or people wouldn't know that you feel a connection with this person. I thought after Thanksgiving 1998 that was over. So if you tell your brother, or you tell your sister, or you tell whoever in your family, I was thinking of calling dad, or I was thinking of going to visit mom, and they're like, what? After Thanksgiving 98? After what she said? After what he did? After da-da-da-da-da? And then that would show your hand, Libra. If you even express to this person, I was thinking about doing this, then it would open up a whole can of worms with that relationship. And it would make the person that you're telling it to, they would look at you differently. And they would be like, how long have you been thinking about this? They might ask you that. How long have you been feeling like this? How long have you been thinking about doing this? How long? And in some cases, maybe you are in contact with the Two of Pentacles person. Maybe you have been talking to, you know, your dad or whoever every once in a while on the phone. And that would rock this current relationship. That would be like, what? Like if you said, actually, brother, sister, whoever, I have been talking to our dad, our mom for the past like year, casually, you know, over the phone. Like they'd be like, what? You didn't tell me? How could you not tell me? Or in some cases, they've like kind of had you in an agreement. I thought we agreed to never speak to that person again. I thought you and me, Libra, had an understanding that we would never, ever, ever, ever engage in a conversation with that person again. So it could be an ex situation, your ex-lover, your ex-partner, your ex-wife, husband, whoever, versus, and I hate to say it like that, but versus your current relationship, your current marriage, okay? It could be you and your cousins, your brothers, blah, 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 versus your parents, your grandparents, another cousin, whatever. Like there is like, sort of like you have like this negotiation that you have to do, but you don't want to do it. Like you're very nervous to do it. And you haven't done it. You haven't done it. I'm going to say that. You haven't. For most of you, you haven't done it. Like you're not secretly carrying on a conversation with this Two of Pentacles person. Like most of you are not. You've thought about it. And then you thought about, man, and I can't tell so-and-so. Because the moment I tell them, they're going to get mad. And it's going to cause this drama. So I'm not even going to go there. I'm not even going to call that person up. I'm not even going to return their text. If if Two of Pentacles has been reaching out to you, some of you have not responded. Like, no, I can't respond. Because the moment I respond and then I tell Jack that I was talking to Jill, it's going to be a thing. So you've avoided it. And that's been stressful, having to avoid confrontation, having to avoid disagreements. You know, Libra, you are peaceful for the most part. Like, you can stir up some drama and you can be kind of agitating or engage in dialogue or debates and dialogues, but truly Libra, you're about everybody getting along, everything being copacetic. So actually, to be the cause of a serious drama or to be the catalyst of a serious disagreement, it absolutely petrifies you. You don't want that. You know, if we're all friendly, if we're just having a couple of drinks down at the bar and we want to have a debate about, you know, who played Batman the best, we can do that. But to be the, like, catalyst or the starting point of, like, a serious family drama or a serious drama between you and your friends or you and your partners or wife and ex-partners, whatever, you're like, no, I don't want to do that. So that was a lot of time between these three cards. I apologize, but... And maybe that's it. You know, I've talked a lot here. And Libra, you're an air sign. And the air signs are about communication, everything like that. And I try my best to keep these videos about an hour or less. But yours is obviously going to go over. But the fact that I've had to say a lot about this little corner here proves to me that you have a lot to say about it. You could talk for a long time about this person, about what happened in the past, what's happening now, how you feel about the future. You could go on and on and on and on about it, but you are not. I am doing it, but you are not. I hope that makes sense. Like, I think I'm not strictly channeling, but I am sort of like demonstrating your potential energy. Because if you've not talked to someone for years, that's a lot of time. That's a lot of stories to tell. That's a lot of perspective to share. And I hope you get what I'm saying. Going forward, you might be like me, going on and on and on. You know. Now, you're starting and your two reactions. Where are we going next? Please show me. Mm. Mm-hmm. Okay. So, going forward, and I'm saying this, but I'm not taking this as like a linear thing. Like, next up, now that I've said this is what you're going to do next. No, I think this is something, I feel like this is still like talking about what you have been doing. Six of Wands. Six of Wands, traditional, is like, oh, one person on a horse coming back into town, being applauded and giving acclamations, things like that. Why am I saying it like that? I think because I'm like rattling off what you might be already familiar with. And obviously this deck is different because you've got many people. No one's really the highlight of this card. Nobody's on a horse. You know, everybody's moving in the same direction. So that is kind of, didn't I say that in the beginning? What looks good on paper or what looks good on the surface. So what you are doing now, a lot of this is very present energy. You're going with the crowd, Libra. If everybody says, if like you and your friends and, you know, are like, Chelsea used to be a part of our friend group, now she's not. We don't like Chelsea. We never liked her. Blah, 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 blah. And you and your friends, like, petty. You know what I'm saying? I'm giving you a very petty example, by the way. This is not something that I think anybody should do. But I think this could be going on for some of you. We don't like this person. They used to be a part of our friend group, and then something shady happened, and she showed her true colors, and we don't like them. And guys, you could do this too. For any Libra males that might be watching this, yeah, man, we don't talk to Tyrese like that no more. We don't fuck with him. We don't mess with him. You know, it doesn't matter. Gender and all that crap does not matter. So, if the crowd that you run with says this person is garbage, we don't like them, we don't talk about them, they're the Voldemort of this group, he shall not be named, we don't mention this person, let's get on with our lives, let's move away from that person, you're on board. You're like, okay. This is what we're doing? Okay. I'm into it. Okay. And again, you can go back to what I was blabbing on about for the past 30-some minutes. That's not at all how you feel. Not at all. You like Chelsea. You care about Tyrese. That was your dog. That was your dude. You know, you care about this person. Even though other people are like, they're garbage. They're terrible. That's being really dramatic. They're a terrible person. But other people that you know are like, ugh. That person? No, we don't roll with that person anymore. And you're like, but they were fun. But you're not expressing that. You could, but you're not, because the crowd is moving away from something. Like in unison, we're all going this way. Anybody going the opposite way would have a hard time. Like you would be going against the flow of traffic. You know, like insert a scene of like any like action movie where Tom Cruise or Bruce Willis or, you know, Jason Statham or whoever is like pushing their way through a car, like trying to get to the bomb or get to the shooter. Like, let me through it, and people are running the other way. Like, not to put it that you would be an action hero, but like that's sort of the imagery that you would basically come up against if you said, but I think Chelsea's kind of funny. And people would like whip their heads around like, what? You're crazy. We are anti-Chelsea and we're going this way. And you would be basically like swimming upstream if you were to admit that you care about this person, that you have an interest in rekindling a relationship with this person, or being open to communication with this person. It would just not be easy for you. And so I think, for the most part, Libra, you've gone with the crowd. You've been waving your anti-Chelsea flag, but at home, you're like pulling like the shoebox of pictures out from under your bed, and you're looking at, oh, me and Chelsea, when me and Chelsea went to Disneyland together. You're having fond memories of this person while externally you're saying, to hell with Chelsea. A little two-faced. A little bit of two-facedness. Not gonna lie. And I'm not saying anything to... I'm not judging you. But that's what it is. That's what it is. Okay? And again, I don't think this is something that you will be encountering. It's like right now. Like I just a little bit of truth on you is what I just did. A little bit of truth on you. You know that you've done this. And like I said before, I don't know. See? Thank you. See, they always want you to like qualify my statements. Remember, this is a general reading. This could be happening for your Two of Pentacles person. Like, you see what I mean? Like, as much as I said, I just said that to you, and I was just like, you've been doing a little two-faced action. You've been moving with the crowd and being, yeah, screw Chelsea. It could be Chelsea who's experiencing this on her side of things. So it could be she's been anti-Libra, screw Libra, we don't care about Libra, yeah, Libra's a scumbag. And Chelsea is the one pulling the photos out from underneath the bed going, oh, Libra, my best friend, I miss you so much. But when Chelsea goes out and hangs with her friends and everybody's like talking crap about you, Libra, saying, oh, Libra's such a douche, and Libra did this, and Libra said that, and we don't like Libra, and Chelsea's like, oh yeah, haha, screw Libra. But on the inside, Chelsea's like, but I miss Libra so much. Libra was so great. Oh, Libra was an amazing person. Why are you talking badly about Libra? Like, it's a right on top of this 10 of Wands, it's a stressful thing. Playing this whole, on the outside, I'm not your friend, but on the inside, oh, I miss your friendship so much. And not saying that this is equal to like a romantic situation where, you know, your wife or your current partner, your current husband is like, yeah, your ex-boyfriend or your previous husband was a total douchebag and blah, blah, blah. And on the inside, you're like, I miss him so much. I want to get back with him. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that you want to be romantically involved with someone from your past. That's not the equal part. The part is I feel connected to that person. I understand that in spite of all the negative crap that happened between us, I still care about them. They still care about me, or I feel connected to them. And it's like an unshakable bond. Regardless of sexual or romantic intentions and attractions, regardless of that. In the family sense, you could have had incredible drama and trauma with this person. There could have been crazy fights. There could have been, in some cases, like abuse. But you know, and I'm not condoning this. I'm not saying, you know, go wrap your arms around your abuser. I'm not saying that. But for you, Libra, this is about not being able to shake that, like I said, that soulful spiritual connection with this person in spite of any drama or trauma or in some cases violence and arguments that you've had between you. Taking the ups with the downs, taking the great moments with the horrible moments and still saying, I care about them. I love them. I feel affinity towards them. They affected my life in this way, and I appreciate that part of it, even though they broke my heart, even though we had a falling out, even though they expressed violence towards me, or they hurt me. Okay, that's very deep. And Libra, this is you. You're deep. You're a deep one, by the way. If you didn't know, I'm telling you, you're deep. You have a issue. No, I shouldn't say it like that, but you definitely have a reoccurring thing in your life where you must reconcile that. Reconciliation is a huge thing for you, Libra. And you rule the house of partnership, okay? 7th house, house of partnership. It's so, like I said earlier, like textbook. It doesn't make sense to be friends with someone or to befriend someone who has hurt you. that boggles the mind. It's not in line with self-preservation. If someone has hurt you, if someone has manipulated you, if someone has devalued you, hasn't appreciated you, yet you still want a connection with them, that doesn't reconcile in most people's minds. And again, this is not an issue of the mind. This is an issue of your heart, of your soul. Okay? So I hope that, I don't know why, but I had to highlight that again in this reading. This is going on forever. Congratulations, you have the longest reading. Let's press on here. So you're going with the flow. You're not wanting to push back against the sort of hive mind or the opinion of the crowd or the people that you're surrounded with. You're just kind of going with, if they're saying, we don't like this person, you're agreeing. And that's not truthful. Thank you. This is you, King of Cups in reverse. I'll show you upright so you can become familiar. This is you. And King of Cups is an energy where when he's upright, he knows what he knows who he is, he knows who he loves, he knows who he's close with and who he values and what he values in himself and in others. He's very truthful. He's very honest. He's very open. He's not very expressive, though. That element persists when he's in reverse. Not expressive. But here it's like, not only are you not expressive of what you know is the truth about your heart, because again, he's got that huge red heart on his chest, right? So, not only are you not expressive, you're not accepting that truth that you know deep inside of you, Libra. You're really resistant to it. So, and you don't know what to do about it. Like, you're watching this video now, and I'm not giving you any, like, huge insight into what do I do next? How do I rectify the situation? How do I find resolve? When the King of Cups is in reverse, he's not on top of his game. He's not as sharp, intuitive. Thank you. Not as intuitive as he should be, because Cups is about your emotions, right? Ruled by the water signs. And water signs, all of them, have some degree of intuitiveness in them, regardless of how they're able to express it or exercise it. But it's innate in them. And you are not open to your own intuition. You're very, not even closed off. I think you're just not getting it. In some cases, maybe you're closed off. In some cases, maybe you're resistant. Like, you know, something pops up and you're like, oh, that's my intuition speaking. Let me shut it up. Some of you are like, not trusting it. Some of you are like, I don't like it. It's telling me to resist my friends. It's telling me to go against the crowd. And that's not in the interest of self-preservation. Why would I do that? That's stupid. I'm avoiding it. I'm repressing it. I'm rejecting it. Some of you are doing that. Other cases, you're just not getting it. Like, you don't even know you have intuition. Like, you don't even know that you have, like, a higher perspective, a higher self that's looking out for you. You don't know that there's another way to go about it, and that there's a deeper voice or thought, or there's something else. There's another narrative inside of you. You don't even know. You have not, that side of yourself, or that intuitive part of yourself has never really spoken. You've always gone about things a certain way, gone down a track one way. You know, you've not diverged much from your own patterns in life, your own approach, your own logical or reasonable way of progressing through life. Intuition isn't always about logic. It's not always about reason. It's not always about what, again, on paper or through a textbook looks like the right answer. A lot of times the intuition is like the crazy answer or the unexpected answer. it's like this nuanced thing that is really hard to really describe sometimes. But you're excuse me, you're not in that space. You haven't been. Maybe you will be after this point. Again, I think I'm not here to tell you anything to do. I think this is just showing you what you have been doing and what you could be doing differently. It's your choice. You always have choice, you know? Now, your last card in your main spread is the Justice card. Your card, Libra. Kind of looks like death in this deck, if I'm honest, but it's actually your card, the Justice card. There is a scale in the hand there. And I'm getting this to be a card of choice. You can go status quo, or you can go different. It's your choice. But whatever you choose, that's the lot you get. That's your lot in life. That sort of will affirm. I mean, you can always change at any point in your life, but I think it's going to affirm like the next phase of your life, or this next short period of time in your life. So that could be a couple of weeks, months, years. You know, time is very relative. Time is very subjective, right? But whatever you choose to do with this whole scenario, not just one choice, but every choice you make with this person, with the conversation you have here, conversations you have here with your friends, the decisions you make of how you're going to carry this 10 of Wands. Are you going to, you know, get smart and wrap a string around all those wands and carry them in a bundle? Or are you going to continue to try and balance them in your hand haphazardly? That's your choice. Your choice to make. Are you going to continue to not really be open to this more spiritual perspective of this situation? Are you going to consistently say, you know what, I'm not a spiritual person. I'm not interested in understanding soulfulness or soul connections. Like, that all sounds like hooey to me. That all sounds like BS to me. Or are you going to continue to think of soulmates as being only romantic? And so, why would I feel so connected to this person? Like soulmates are for love. Like, some of you might have come to this reading and you might leave this reading with that understanding. Soulmates are for love. I personally don't subscribe to that, but you might continue. You might have subscribed to that and taken that on board as your own belief, and you might leave with that being your own belief. That's your choice. That's your choice. And whatever you choose is what it's supposed to be. Like, to me, the Justice card is kind of weird in that whatever the choice is what it was supposed to be, even if the outcome is bad. And that is so simple to me. Like, that's the fact. You know, justice, like we think of it in terms of law, or in terms of that cliche, love is blind, justice is blind as well. It is what it is. And you must accept it, because justice is impartial. And this is your card, Libra. Not to say that you are an impartial person, or you're somebody who's always on the objective, or that you try to be apathetic or anything like that, but more of a, like I said earlier, you don't want things to be destabilized. You actually want balance. You actually want fairness in everything. And you try not to upset the waters. Like, for the sake of like going out and hanging out with friends for a night, you might get into a friendly debate, but you never want something to lead to destabilizing that friendship. So if you guys are sitting there in the bar, you know, having a couple of beers, and you start up talking about politics, you never want it to get you never want such a conversation, which could go impactful that it makes it so that you leave and you no longer have a friend because you guys disagreed on something about public policy. Like, that to you is not your aim. Your aim is never to do that. So when justice comes out in a tarot reading card, that's never the aim. You never want the aim to be, the aim is never a good result or a bad result. The aim is a result. The aim is for things to be the way that they're supposed to be. So why all that? Right. So if you choose to leave this reading and never speak to this person again, even though you feel this deep, soulful connection, that's your choice, and that's what is supposed to be. even if it results in being hurt. It's not your goal, but that might be the result. And that's what it's supposed to be. Like, I hope that makes sense to you. And I hope that's not upsetting, but that's kind of what it is. Outcome for the month, High Priestess. So, as resistant as some of you are to this whole spiritual side of the argument, or spiritual side of this reading, it's here. It's here. And you kind of have to address it in some... Well, you don't have to. But maybe you should address it in some ways. Because the High Priestess is this card of, like, existential knowing, esoteric understanding, metaphysical, realizations and knowledge, right? So something is at work in this storyline, in this element or this section of your life that you might not ever understand, but it's here. And just as I was saying, it is what it is, you have to accept it. I kind of feel like that these two are kind of going hand in hand, Justice and the High Priestess card. You kind of have to embrace that maybe this relationship is something you'll never understand. Or, not that you won't understand this relationship, but the role it has played in your life more so. Not that you can't understand that this past person, this ex-partner, this ex-husband, ex-wife, whatever, they meant this to me. They were the mother or the father of my kids. We were together. Like, you can understand that. And you can understand the impact because your kids will be impacted. And at some point, maybe they'll tell you, you know, growing up, this is what I felt. You know, this is what I felt like growing up in the house with you and daddy. Da-da-da-da-da. Like, you'll be able to understand it in those terms. But you will not, to a certain extent, you will not understand overall why that had to happen. You had other boyfriends, you had other girlfriends, you could have had children with someone else. You had, you know, other relationships before you swiped right or whatever on Tinder. Like, you had other dates, you had other irons in the fire. You didn't have to be with that person. There were other people you could have been with. That person didn't have, if this is more your father, your mother, that person didn't have to have you. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? It seems so serendipitous is basically what I'm saying. It's all coincidental or by chance that these things came to pass. And that kind of is not what's understood. It's kind of a weird thing I'm trying to explain, but like, sort of like, if you think about, and I'm not a musician, so this is not the best example, but this is what they're showing me in my head. They're showing me sheet music, and I'm like, I don't even read sheet music. I don't know what those dots mean. But basically, you know, when on sheet music, you know, you've got the scales. They go across like that. And you've got the little dots that indicate the notes. There's a reason why certain notes follow each other and certain ones don't. And then sometimes, according to not algorithms, but certainly music theory, why certain notes shouldn't go together, but someone comes along and they put them together, and it's never been done before, but man, it sounds good in the totality of the song. Like, oh man, you know, I personally, I'm a music fan, and I watch different things on YouTube and documentaries and stuff like that, that kind of go into, like, how certain songs, you can't, like, they analyze the music patterns, the notes, the chords, and all that kind of stuff. And other musicians will say, oh man, and when so-and-so decided to sing that note, or put in the piano here, or put the saxophone here, that just changed the whole song. It just changed the dynamic. And that song wouldn't be anything without this change, without this particular chord progression, or something like that. They'll say that. I, as a casual listener of music, not being a musician, just take for granted that song was perfect when they put it out like that. Like, they didn't think about it in those terms. But the writer of the song, the composer of the song, whatever, they had the genius, I use air quotes there, genius, to structure the song that way. I don't understand it as a casual fan of music, as someone with like zero musical talent, practically zero musical understanding, but take it. So, like, I hope that makes sense to you. So, like, maybe that's what this relationship is, this Two of Pentacles relationship is. It's a strange chord progression in traditional understanding, right, of human relationships. It's strange. It doesn't make sense for you to have such a strong bond with someone who hurt you so deeply, or that you hurt. Or it's so strange to go and live this life, this American dream of having the spouse and the kids and the home and the vacations and all that stuff, and you're still reflecting on this relationship that you had with a best friend from your teenage years or from your college years, and that person being, you know, halfway across the world, for God's sakes, possibly, and you still can't let that person go. That is a strange, for lack of a better word, strange, quote unquote, chord progression. That relationship between you two makes the song. It's the je ne sais quoi, okay, of the song. It's the thing that you can't really articulate. It's that thing that you can't really explain. That connection. High Priestess reflects that energy. In this realm here on earth, this human experience, you might not ever understand it. You might not ever be able to piece together why it's so significant. Why it is that person will remain with you in your heart, in your mind, in your soul, okay? Until the day you die. You may not ever reconcile that. And if that's the case, you have to accept it. High Priestess is about accepting what you don't know. And understanding that somewhere else out there in the cosmos, in the universe, in whatever you like to think about, it's understood. Somewhere else. You don't have that knowledge, but somewhere else, it's understood. And that also kind of talks, there is an element of intuition with the High Priestess and following your intuition. If your intuition says, you know, I can't risk, as much as I want to talk to this person, as much as I want to reconnect with them, as much as I want to reconcile and understand what happened there and, you know, have some type of resolution or have some type of reunion with this person, as much as I want that, my intuition tells me if I do it, I will mess up this other part of my life or this other relationship in my life. Therefore, I have to kind of let it be this unexplained bond that exists within me that nobody else knows about. If that's what your intuition is telling you to do, you might need to do that. If your intuition is telling you, no, I can't live like this, I have to reach out to this person, I have to tell my partner, excuse me, I have to tell my partner, or I have to tell my cousin, I want to go talk to my dad, even though he was horrible, blah, 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 my cousin will flip out and think I'm being crazy or whatever, I have to do that, then that's what you're supposed to do. Justice, High Priestess, and the King of Cups, they all talk about following what is, quote unquote, right, what feels right, what speaks to you at the deepest level, and going with it. And let the chips fall where they may, basically. Okay? You have the longest reading. I tried my best. Oh, and you got the Six of Cups behind you. Or not Six of Cups, the Nine of Cups, I'm sorry. Anyway, overall energy for the month of October is the Nine of Cups. Or Nine of Cups, wow. The Nine of Swords. Libra. So, it's not easy. This whole reading hasn't been easy. This whole reading, like I said, I've talked forever. I feel you could talk forever about this situation. You could really go on for a long time. And swords are about communication. About this person, about what that relationship means to you, how it's affected you over the course of your life thus far. You could really, really write a thesis, not even a thesis. You could write a doctorate about this whole thing, okay? That's how much this means to you. That's how much information and conversation you have inside of you. And it's not easy because you've been holding back. You've been holding back. And again, that's your choice to continue to do that. You can or you cannot. It's your choice. I personally would err on the side of don't hold back. Personally. That's me. because, you know, in my life, it's not the best. But that Nine of Swords there as your overall energy is just it's reflected in all of these cards. There's 6 cards in your main and the 7th, so there's 2 additional things, but each of these cards is one of these swords. Each one of them. The relationship itself, that unbreakable bond itself, that soulful connection itself. Your resistance or your lack of being receptive in a spiritual way is one of them. The friends and going with the crowd and not really wanting to upset the apple cart, that's one of them. And realizing that also is a burden, as well as the relationship itself. The soulful connection is a burden. The connection with your friends is a burden, and having to find balance in all of that, having to be fair in all of that is hard. Realizing that whatever decision you make is what is supposed to be, and realizing that you've been ignored. All of those things contribute to the Nine of Swords energy overall for you in this month. And like I said, I personally would err on the side of being more vocal. Personally. Not as your reader. Personally. I personally would err on the side of letting people know what's up. Letting people know what is the truth for you. What is your perspective? What is your conclusion thus far regarding this relationship? Regarding the other relationships that are in the peripheral, or that are somehow linked back to this Two of Pentacles relationship, okay? But that's, again, my personal perspective, not as your tarot reader. As your tarot reader, this is for you to decide. If you decide to speak, that's on you. If you decide not to speak, that's also on you. Whatever you choose is what you should do. Okay? Alright, Libra, I'm going to end it there because we've been here for like an hour and a half, and that's ridiculous. So if you've watched this entire reading, I appreciate you so much, because this was a lot for me to say. My mouth is very dry. I'm gonna go have some tea. Okay. But if you watched until this point, I truly do appreciate it. And if you found something that resonated with you here, go ahead and leave a like down below. Also leave a comment down there. Talk about what resonated with you. I would love the feedback. I would love to have the dialogue out there. And if you don't want to comment, and I think I have a specific reason for saying this, it's because it feels like you have not expressed it. So if you don't want to comment publicly, shoot me an email about it. I would love to, wherever you want me to read about or hear about how this is impacting you, or what has been an affirmation for you. If you want to leave it in the comment section, cool. If you don't want to leave it out there publicly, send me a message. The email's down there too. Also feel free to subscribe to the channel and share the video if you feel there are other Libras in your life, or maybe I said something that was perfect and you can't express it and you want someone else to hear it. Like, if you want to know what's going on with me, Barbara, watch this video and then we can talk. You know, if that's something, share the video. If you don't want to do any of that, that's cool with me. But regardless, I'll be back in about, at this point, 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks, when I do your November reading. Until that time, Libra, thank you so much. Take care. Bye.